Good day, viewers around the world. You're welcome to SSM News Echoes today, Friday, 16th of February. We're looking into our global world affairs. My name is Matt Godwin Iweajua, and joining me from different parts of the world are coordinators and my brothers and friends, Sir George Chukwu from Toronto, Canada. Good morning, Big George. Oh dear, George, we need to get your audio. We can't hear you, George. The viewers need to hear you. Anyway, also in Lagos, Nigeria, is our coordinator, Olayinka Rajiraji. Olayinka Rajiraji, you're welcome to the studio this Friday morning.
Good morning, sirs. Good morning, global audience. It's a nice Friday morning.
It's a nice Friday morning. Yes. Yes, that's good. I don't know. It looks as if the volume also decreased, Raji. Is there a way you can up it up again? Yes, if it's possible, while George is also fixing his audio. Gentlemen, while you're fixing the audio, we're looking into viewers. Friday is normally our global audience updates on world affairs. And what we do is keep it strictly on international news. So a lot is happening. A lot is happening. Right about now, we're talking the 37th session of the African Union meeting is going on. It's been going on since January anyway, but today begins the head of states and some assembly members at the African Union. So head of states, government, and some senior officials are meeting today right there in Addis Ababa, the headquarters of the African Union, Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. And the president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, joined other African leaders in this high-level meeting, as they claim, high-level meeting. And we are still looking at what could be happening and what is expected to go on there. Gentlemen, Raji, are you following the African Union meeting? The head of state's version of it is running today, tomorrow, I think, till Monday. What do you have on that, Raji? African Union, AU.
Is a normal sessions that they normally have. I'm not following it exactly, because it seems as if the same routine meetings that they have, and they come out with nothing that is really progressive for Africa.
Yeah, the same routine meeting they have. Actually, the meeting has been running since January, the African Union meeting. But 17th and 18th, like I said, is more on head of states and head of government. And the title this time is titled Educate an Africa, Educating Africans for the 20th Century. So it also says they are building resilient education system to increase access to inclusive, long life, quality, and relevant learning in Africa. So this is what they've themed this 37th edition of the African Union meeting of the head of states. George, are you okay now?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
can you hear me?
Yes, we
Beautiful.
can. Go ahead, George.
Sorry, Mark, what about my mic now?
Yes, it is yours.
Yes, it's low. If you can still try and up it up a bit, but if not, it's okay. George, go ahead. Okay, African Union is going on.
Well, African Union is going on, like Raj said. The situation with African Union is, what are they going to come up with? Are they going to come up with the Pan-African system of something that can bring them together as a continent that will actually be able to, put us in position to deal with one another in a mutual, beneficial way against every onset of these, what I call the first world countries that are trying to influence the decision making and everything that has, that concerns our welfare. So if that is the case, if they're going to be able to come together, just like China is a continent, North America is a continent, but they're all coming together in a common level of understanding that will benefit them against you or any other. So that's exactly the point. There is not meeting. What are you meeting about? And what is the modus operandi that that you're going to be using this time in order to be able to work together as a continent, as a black nations to help foster whatever that is going on in our countries.
Hmm.
So that's
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's a good one, George. That's viewers. What you're seeing is the president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, arriving at the Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa is the African Union headquarters. Addis Ababa is the capital of Ethiopia, and like we said, the meeting has been on, but this week we'll focus more on head of states and government. And Bola Ahmed Tinubu arrived there in Addis Ababa 10 p.m. yesterday. So, George, very well said. You said it well. But George, they termed this year's summit as they are focused now on education, educating Africa and putting Africa fit for the 20th century is what they said. They also said is building a resilient education system in Africa. Now let's look at education, George. Um, Actually, most times when people get educated in Africa and they find themselves in the Western world, in Europe, for example, or US or Canada, North America, all of those places, you find out that what they've studied in Africa becomes like nullified. You go through another process of learning if you have come to the Americas or you've come to some other parts of Europe. So is it that we're not in equilibrium with our education globally? Sir George, then we'll come to
well,
you.
yeah. Now, let's just say take Canada or US for example. There are many criterias that are needed, and whenever, especially when it comes to medicine or any other professional skills that are being acquired during school, um, most of these countries they have conditions and they have high standard of criteria that they demand, which most of our universities does not, it doesn't give us, because the reason being that we are still the same way that we were in the 60s and in the 50s.
Mhm.
But because of what you call development and enlightenment in different areas, you don't see most of these universities according the students those opportunities to learn in that standard. For instance, many doctors that will come from Nigeria to Canada will have to go back to school and take several exams.
That's
So
it.
in other words, it's not because they are not qualified per se, but there are
Mhm.
conditions. It's like some of the cars that come to Nigeria, for example,
Mhm.
they come from different parts of the world. But when you're shipping cars in Canada, they have conditions. Those vehicles must meet the conditions here before they can be shipped into this country and into North America. But Africa becomes a dumping ground for some of these other cars, and so it is with education. So that is part of the reason. So now, what we could do is to find out these standards that are being required in some of these countries, make sure that our educational system meet up to par with them, so that when we get out of here, out of Nigeria into these countries, it becomes easy for us to, assimilate with their standards.
Uh,
It becomes easy for us to assimilate with their standard. Before we go on, let's welcome our wonderful lady, Fiona. Fiona Akuno, you're welcome to News Echoes World Affairs. Can you
Thank
hear
you.
us?
Yes, I can. Morning, gentlemen. Morning,
Good
everybody.
morning, Fiona. Americans will call you Fiona. Fiona.
You're looking bright,
fine.
Fiona. You're looking bright.
Yeah.
So, Raji,
Mark,
we're talking on
yes,
the discussion at the summit. This summit,
yes,
the
yes,
AU summit. The discussion, like I said, is going to be
um,
based on education. They said they want to make
yes,
the African education inclusive, lifelong, quality, relevant, and but it still comes back to the fact that after learning in Africa, you still need to build up your game when you come abroad. You still need to. But
I
when
think
they
it's
come to Africa, we don't tell them to go back to school or anything. So what's this thing? How can AU settle
think
this once and for all?
yeah.
Go ahead.
I think I disagree entirely with what Sir George is saying about the quality of education in Africa. I'll talk specifically about Nigeria. Now, I'll talk specifically about my own field, which is electronics. You'll be surprised the level of education that we have here in electronics. It is almost at par with whatever you can get anywhere in the world. Because the world is now essentially a global village. With the internet and with the Internet of Things, we are on the same level. Now let's go to medicine. You'll be surprised. Aren't you surprised about the quality of doctors that came from Nigeria into American system, and the waves they are making in their medical field? When you finish your education anywhere, for instance, when you finish your education in Africa, you have to go to the American system. There's a bridging qualification that you have to go through. If those coming from America do not do it when they come into Africa, it's a show of our inferiority complex. If you have to go and then do a bridging qualification to feed into their system, it's also a show of an superiority complex on their side. Nigerian doctors are making waves in the American medical system. Even anywhere you go, the nurses and the doctors, they are hotcakes anywhere they go. In electronics, you'll be surprised. The average Nigerian has a more sophisticated phone than the average American. I can assure you of that. I can assure you of that.
Well, Raj.
Yeah, respond.
Let me ask. Now, the problem with Africa is the amount of funds we provide for education. UNESCO had given a standard that more than 25% of our budget should go to education. But regularly do we downgrade education in Africa? The quality is there, but the quantity, the amount of people who are going to school is reducing. It's reducing. There's quality education in Africa.
Wow. Okay, George, respond before Fiona comes in. Let me say that you have a thumbs up from some places, Raji, for what you just said, because that was straight up. George, Raji hit you because
no. Listen to this though, because been there, done that. The point is this: you have to understand when you come to the level of individual intelligence or the level of individual acumen in a particular field can differ from one place to another. When you see, he's saying that, when it comes to in the medical field, that many Nigerians are making waves. Yes, we are making waves. But, when you par them statistically with what has been going on with other nations and with other doctors that are in their own fields, the percentage is quite, there are a wide range of disparity between the two. What I'm saying is, yes, we are very, hold tight. Listen, hold tight. Listen, what I'm saying is, yes, indeed, Nigerians are very bright. Yes, indeed, you can see many of us that are so intelligent that whenever area you put us in, we will advance rapidly, given the opportunities around us technologically and scientifically and otherwise. But what I'm saying, in our own school system, in the 60s, for instance, you could compare UN and University of Lagos with Cambridge because of the quality of education we get. But it is no longer the same these days. So that's what I am telling you. So whether we like it or not, there has been a degradation in the quality of education that we get in Africa. Number one, because of lack of infrastructures. Number two, because of certain fundamental things that a student can go to the library and be able to just, without even using their own, resources. You go to the library, everything is available for you to study, and you can also hands-on experience. For instance, how many universities do you have in Nigeria where they can use some of these new technological advancement when it comes to medicine to do surgeries and all that kind of stuff? They don't have that.
Like what?
Okay, let's bring in somebody that is in the education field. Fiona, we're talking about, okay, before Fiona speaks also, we have Godwin Ibe, Dr. Godwin Ibe from Moscow, Russia. You're welcome, Dr. Godwin.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hello,
Unfortunately, I'm
Godwin.
on my
A
phone
long
today.
time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Your view is quite different. Your phone sounds very
Yeah.
Yes,
You're
yes, I'm on my
probably
phone.
okay.
Yes,
So
yes, I'm yes.
yeah, you're welcome. So Fiona, we're talking about AU. AU is going on right about now. It has been going on for weeks now, but this weekend it highlights head of states and senior government officials. They will be having their high-powered meeting, and they said the theme for this discussion will be on making education fit, African education fit for the 21st century. They said they want to build a resilient education system that will have inclusive, lifelong quality and relevancy in learning in Africa. So we now came down to, we are saying they do all of this, and by the end of the day, and a student that has schooled in Africa still can't pair with a student in the West, for example. And we hope they will look into that. So what's your view on that, Fiona? Is it? Mhm.
I think that it goes without saying that Nigerians are amongst the most intelligent people in the world. No cap. I'm not saying it because I'm a Nigerian. It's just what it is. I think given the sort of infrastructure that especially if you look at the medical profession, for example, the kind of infrastructure that they've had to deal with and learn through and been able to cross over and port over into other countries and become top of their field. I'm talking across dentistry, orthodontics, medicine. I mean, it goes down to the same mismanagement that we see across the board when it comes to Nigeria. The same mismanagement that we see in the transport and electricity sector, we see in the education sector. And I think until we address the issues at the core, all this is just going to be pie in the sky. We need to address, education needs to be given, the primary importance that it deserves. We are too intelligent a people to have an education system that is substandard. I was very fortunate in my Nigerian education that I went to what were considered at the time probably premier schools, whatever. And so I appreciate that background that I had. But it's unfortunate that the state of the tertiary institutions at the moment with strikes, et cetera, it doesn't even allow for continuity and for the amazing outcomes that we can actually have if things were being harnessed properly within our country. So, I mean, there's no one, I mean, I have so many cousins that studied medicine, and when they talk about the sort of experiences they had at some of the, forerunners in universities in Nigeria, it's shocking when they say things like, we didn't have oxygen. And these are medical students. They needed just basic oxygen. They couldn't get on the wards. So, I mean, I think that education at the very crux of it, it's being mismanaged. I will say that I believe that I am a product of a good Nigeria and a product of probably some of the best education you can find anywhere. I know that the education I received in Nigeria is better than the education that many people get here in the United Kingdom at primary level. I can say that categorically 100%. And I'll even go further to say that my secondary education is probably better than a lot of the secondary education that I see here. So, wow. I mean, it's just mismanagement. It's mismanagement.
Wow. Let me say to you that while you were talking, it happened on Raji's time. Some people went on with the thumbs up, the Facebook thumbs up, and while you are talking now, I'm seeing more thumbs up. So I think viewers are hearing you loud, and they say that means it's a sign that what you're saying is correct to their ears, you know. Okay, gentlemen, let's leave education. Let's leave AU. We hope the AU head of states and senior government officials will look into this discussion and really balance up education, make it what it says. Because really, in Nigeria now, there's this slogan they say, "School is a scam," and it's a pity young people are saying that because, I mean, what's the basis of development if people are not educated? Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's move on to Britain. Britain matters a lot. It's a country that that connects with so many other countries in terms of organizations like Commonwealth and the rest. So, but Britain has fallen into recession, and they say this is the worst GDP performance since years now. It has slipped into recession. Fiona, what's happening to your country?
So, Mark, you know that I don't like when people say your country. You know I'm an anarchist, right? So, you know that Nigeria is my country, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's an economic phenomenon, isn't it? So essentially, the last two cycles of GDP, basically, the economy has contracted. Does it mean that we need to be wailing and getting ourselves really twisted all up? I don't really think so. I mean, things have been quite difficult here in the United Kingdom post-COVID, and I think things probably started hitting really hard Q1 last year. So Q1 2023, we had a lot of impact from different angles. We had issues with the cost of fuel. So even just to heat up your house became so expensive. The cost of food, even though they were putting the increase at about 10%, that we were finding some things in the stores about 50% higher. So of course, I'm not surprised to hear this, but I think this is our third recession post 2008. So we've been through the cycles. We're quite robust. Our currency is decently strong, across the world. So I think with effective management, even though Rishi Sunak had promised this, that, and the other, I think with robust and strong management economically, I think that we will be able to manage the wave and come out the other side. So I don't think at this time it's any cause for too much concern.
Anyway, they say the gross domestic product has fallen 0.3% in the last 3 months. Sure. And there are some real issues that defines recession that's happening. So, gentlemen, let's bring in Godwin. Godwin, are you connected?
Yes.
Can you hear us?
Yes, sure.
Good. All right, let's hear you. Britain is in recession. How is Russia looking at this?
Well, it's sad that UK is in a recession, just like any other country in a recession. Russians mean money for UK and vice versa. But unfortunately, the political elites sometimes like to fight and break the citizens into the fight battle, which is not really in the interest of all the citizens, because we exchange a lot of culture, a lot of consumer goods, education, science, technology, and all of the rest. But a recession is usually defined as contraction that occur consecutively in 2 quarters. The UK have like 0.1% contraction, followed by 0.3% contraction. This is obviously a lot of people don't like to say it, but this is the effect of sanctions and shooting oneself in the foot. This started from the coronavirus, as Fiona rightly said. We were hoping that after the coronavirus, industries will come back to normal. But what we are seeing now is a segregation. We are seeing a kind of global Berlin Wall, dividing the Eastern and the Western economies, and a lot of artificial inefficiencies introduced into the logistics and supply chain. For example, Russian oil and gas, which was supplied to the Europe at cheap price, especially Germany, that was the industrial base of Europe, and UK obviously benefiting from that. Now they still buy the same Russian oil and gas just through third parties at higher prices, at higher marks up, and with more delays and inefficiencies in logistics. So these kind of this world we find ourselves today with the fight going on between the East and the West, Russia and NATO, and Russia and its allies, trying to pick a side. This is causing a lot of inefficiency. It didn't start all of a sudden like just recession at once. It started with inflation, started with high energy prices, started with high consumer goods, and for some reason, some people thought like they could survive, they could make up for it, but obviously we are seeing that you can't. When you introduce inefficiencies in the system, obviously it's going to come back to bite you and the citizens. So I believe the UK presidents are smart enough to deal with this and to solve the problem, but obviously more preparation is needed to.
Please, you are bringing great insight to this discussion, but we need your audio to sound a little bit balanced. It's
Clearer.
echoing. So, yeah, clearer. So let's have your audio, Godwin, because we need you on this also. You're giving us that update on why Putin has chosen, has preferred Biden to Trump. So please do that. Let's go on back, fellas. Let's go on back to some other news making round. This one is just.
Is it better now?
Okay.
Yes, a little better now.
A little better now.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just say this one. This one is a news update that just came from our Italy center here. It says the Italian Senate just passed a controversial bill that will see migrant ship taken to Albania. Now, this has been going on for months and months now, but finally, this controversial plan has been agreed upon by our Prime Minister, Giorgio Meloni, and the Albanian counterpart. So what they will be doing is when migrants come through the sea, like you all know, the Mediterranean Sea, they will put them up together and take them to Albania, a particular place they've chosen. So it's similar to what the UK is doing with on its immigration also.
With Rwanda.
Rwanda, sorry. Yeah, so Albania, and but some people are still kicking against it because they say Albania is not in the EU, so Albania doesn't have some guidelines on detention, treatments, and deportation concerning asylum. So they say that it might be an unlawful alliance, and it might some part of the House are kicking against it. So that's coming from Italy here. Also coming from Western Europe, Greece. I don't know if any of you is following this. Greece has legalized same-sex marriage as one of the 15th country in Europe that is legalizing same-sex marriage. Fiona, are you following this? George, are you following this? Raji, are you following this? Anyone?
Are we done with the recession in UK?
Yes. Oh, do you want to talk on recession in UK? Because so much more. Go ahead if you want to say it, George. Sorry.
Yeah, because I mean, this is our current situation that is affecting most countries around the world. In actuality, what I believe is going on. I mean, seriously, what is happening in UK right now is happening in a lot of European countries. Because during the pandemic, they went into their reserves, they printed money, they did a lot of things, and they helped. What Nigerians will call palliatives. They were helping people, giving money away in doing certain things. But right after, now collecting some of that money that they gave some businesses is becoming an issue. And so you see a lot of consumer confidence is falling so drastically. There are other things that what Dr. Godwin said that I'm not going to touch, which are facts. But the point that we're seeing is internally, they are clamoring and trying to get some of that money that they gave away back into the coffers of the government, but they're having difficulties because of recession is all over the place. Interest rates have skyrocketed. Consumer confidence has fallen drastically. So all these things are factors that are affecting it, plus what Dr. Godwin said. So it's going to really take a little while for things to fall back into normal. Many countries are now managing their economy per se. So that's, because I know about Canada. it is happening here, and quite a few number of people are suffering, because of food prices that are up, fuel prices are up, interest rates are up, what you call property taxes are up. So all these things are come together, is having effects on people. Like, for instance, when you come to during Christmas, a lot of people didn't shop like they used to. And right after that, even this Valentine's Day, many people did not go out. They chose to stay home and cook and entertain rather than going outside to spend money. So these are the things that are affecting what is affecting UK is actually affecting many European countries.
Wow.
Canada included, yes.
I didn't know you are an economist on this one. Somebody wants to say something, Raji?
Yes, and
Yes.
I think they deserve that recession. They brought it upon themselves. This thing is
Raji.
I swear, I would have. Okay, I support in a way.
It's a cascade of events, and it started with Brexit. They brought it upon themselves, Brexit, and then the unnecessary war in Ukraine, leading to the bombing of the Nord Stream pipeline that supplied cheap energy to the whole of Europe. I'm surprised Germany is still alive. How can Germany? Yes, I'm surprised they are not talking about recession.
But okay, I think Godwin gave us the story on.
So sorry, I want to add something just very quickly. US is a powerful nation, and a lot of people try to copy them, especially Europe. You can't print dollars like the US. US dollar is the reserve currency. They can just print more. They put sanctions, and euros don't have that luxury to print as many currency as much as. Of course, they can do all this quantitative easing, but you see, the inflation in US is about 3%, 3.4, 3.5. US will be fine. They might have some, shocks, but it will generally be fine. But Europe is the country that will take the brunt of all these miscalculations.
All right, gentlemen, let's go on a small break. We'll be back. We need you, Godwin, to give us updates, and George also, the Kansas Super Bowl shooting, and Fiona will give us some also update from our corner there. So we'll be back. Viewers, this is it. Friday morning here in Milan and different parts of the world. We are giving you our news echoes, world affairs for our global audience. We'll be back. Thank you.
A year ago, I wrote a book titled The Final Solution, and I was trying to say to the rest of the world that there are challenges ahead. Now, a prophecy did come, and that prophecy is coming to pass. But I'm telling you, the final solution has been found many years ago in the Bible, because the Bible simply says righteousness exalts a nation and sin is a reproach to the people. So I want you to know that we can get solutions to problems in Ukraine, in Russia, in Nigeria, indeed all parts of the world. We need that solution, and the solution is straightforward. Please get a copy of my book. Is the Final Solution by Bishop Shooting Johnson, and you can find it in Kindle, in Amazon. Just type Bishop Shooting Johnson, The Final Solution. It will come. It's very, very small book you can read within 2 hours, but it contains the final solution. Do get a copy. Not getting it is doing disservice to humanity. Don't forget the final solution.
Hello, viewers. You're back to our program, Friday edition, Friday, 16th February 2027. SSM World News Update. Gentlemen, are we there? Yes, we are. Godwin, we need you to give us updates before we begin to put our own personal thoughts into it. What is happening? What is happening? Putin says Biden's presidency is better for Russia than Trump's presidency. He said this yesterday in an interview with a pro-Kremlin journalist, Pavel Zarubin. And he said a lot of things. He said it would be nice for Russia to work with any leader of the United States, but they prefer somebody that will gain the trust of the Russian people. We know Putin for having this tradition of pontificating on U.S. presidential politics. So what is it? Godwin, what's happening here?
Let me start by correcting the misconstrued lies. Never at any point, yes, some of them are taken out of context. Let me explain to you. Okay. Never at any point did he say Biden was better than Trump. Never at any point. What he said, let me finish. Can I finish?
I'm sure.
What he said was that Biden was more experienced than Trump, which is a fact. Biden is more experienced. He's been in politics for a longer time. And so in his dealings with Russia, he will deal with Russia with more experience. And this is a fact. This was misconstrued to mean that he says Biden was better than Trump.
So listen to what you do. Listen to what you do now. Put a strong rebuttal message to CNN, BBC, CBS, and ABC, and even Al Jazeera, because all of this network said this the way I said it.
I read their articles to even Yes, I read their articles to even see what the exact verbatim that they will quote Putin is saying. And what they actually said, they repeated what I said. That they said that he said, if you read beyond the headlines and read into the text, you will see that they said there exactly that. Putin said Biden is more experienced, and this is a statement of fact. Now, I won't waste my time writing CNN because they only publish what they want, and obviously their political stance is clear. So I won't waste my time going down that dead end or black hole. But what I will say is to correct to viewers who are interested in the truth, to know that what Putin has said is a statement of fact. And secondly, he also showed not just charisma, but he showed courtesy by giving compliments to a leader that has declared Russia a geopolitical foe, and saying that even though a lot of people thought that President Biden was incompetent, he himself didn't notice that. Well, we know he was being very courteous, and that is the kind of language you need to build the environment for future negotiation, because what we need more than anything is more talk between political leaders, and it's the lack of this talk that is causing them to digest or to be dependent on third-party channels. They depend on Tucker Carlson to know Putin's mind. They send Tucker Carlson or another journalist message to send to Putin, instead of establishing that direct dialogue, which is essential, especially for two nuclear nations, two geopolitical powers, to establish lasting peace, and not always looking for an enemy to fuel and to feed your military industrial complex at the expense of taxpayers. A lot of homeless people are on the street. You don't have money for them, but you always have money for bullets. You always have money for more aid, more weapons, but no money. The borders are open. As we know, fentanyl is a big problem. You know, these are issues that need to be
Are we still
solved
talking
together
about what
with
Putin
other
said? Are
geopolitical
you
powers.
pontificating in another areas? I
All
mean,
right,
because I'm lost a little bit.
yes.
I'm a little lost from your
George,
explanations.
yeah, George, the U.S. President Joe Biden, like we all know, doesn't mince word when it comes to Putin. Since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, he has been calling that the Russian leader a war criminal. Now, George, is somebody calling you a war criminal, but you are sending back a sweet courtesy message, like Robin said.
Don't be deceived by what you heard.
Okay.
Don't be. Putin is a seasoned diplomatic politician that knows what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Don't be deceived. Remember what he said, that Biden is more experienced, also more predictable.
Yes.
Those two key words there are very, very important. More predictable. That Biden cannot just wake up in the morning and want to send rockets to Russia. Biden will go through the normal process, through the political process, constitutional process, to do whatever that needs to be done. Number one, if you remember, there was a time where so much pressure was on Trump, and he went and bombed Syria. Just like that. And he actually planned to bomb Iran at a point, simply because when the pressure was upon him, so he's more volatile, he's more unpredictable. So when Putin was saying what he was saying, do not be deceived by what Putin said, because let me tell you something. Behind that statement lies a whole lot of things in the closet, because they know they can manage Trump more than they can manage Biden. Why is that? They have something on Trump, and anytime they squeeze that ball, he will squat. So let's just leave it alone. That's all I must say. That's all I will say.
Your opinion.
Let me come to you, Raji. Raji, this is coming in a time when there's so much going on, United Nations, so much is going on. Now, the man has said this statement, even though Godwin said it's not what we had, but I went through all of the media homes to get the facts well, and I saw all of them saying the same thing. Raji, what's your take on this? Putin's statement to Biden?
I tend to go with Sir Godwin, that Putin may prefer Biden because he's predictable. You can predict him. You can predict. He's slow. You know what he can do. But with Trump,
you're saying you're going with Sir George. Sir George.
Yes.
No.
Yes. That he may prefer Putin may prefer Biden because he's predictable. But I have something to say about Trump. I don't think Trump bombed any nation when he was president. I think he's.
Oh yes, he did. He bombed Syria. Believe me, he bombed Syria. He did.
Okay.
Only Syria, but not Iran.
Only Syria. He didn't go.
Yeah, he did bomb Syria. Yeah.
No U.S. president can bomb Iran. Forget about it. There can be any.
He planned it. But his plan came out later. He planned it.
No, he didn't plan it. His advisors, these hawks among them planned it, but he rejected it.
Okay.
He had to reject it because
he rejected it. Yeah.
Iran is not a small fly to just decide one day. Iran is not Iraq, so forget about that.
Mm.
So, as I said, Putin will really prefer Biden because Biden is slow, Biden is predictable. Biden is nothing. I don't think, and I don't think it will be in interest of the U.S. to bring in Biden again as a president. Then the American empire will actually cease to exist.
Okay.
You know, I didn't say sorry. Godwin, massive mark. You said,
Yes.
and this guy is on Sir George. Look, I didn't say which side who President Putin prefers. I don't know his mind. But what I'm saying is, he never stated any preference in direct speech. If you insinuate that, like I said, I respect Sir George's opinion, I respect everybody. If you think he prefers Biden, maybe he does. Maybe he prefers Trump. But he never said he preferred anybody. And what he said was more experienced and predictable. And he stopped there. So just for viewers to know that he didn't say he preferred
Just
anybody.
But I'm going to put on, let's see some network, network, so that it's not like we're just making up stories.
No, but they can write anything. I watched the video. I also read their write-up. There's nowhere in the text of their write-up did they say, in the text, they put in quote, double quote, that Putin said that. You will never find a non-article because he didn't say that. So not the headline. Headlines are usually inferences, but not the exact verbatim quote.
Fiona, what do you think about all this? Because from a European standpoint, a Britain standpoint, what do you think?
I think that exactly what Sir Gordon said, Dr. Gordon said. I think that the truth of the matter is that what he stated was the fact. Because for him, I think Biden is almost like low-hanging fruit for him, because he can, if you're playing a game of any kind of game, you're playing chess, etc., and you can figure out what somebody is going to do, it kind of puts you at an advantage. So I can see why he would make that. I can see why that statement could be put out there. Now, the way that anybody chooses to translate it is up to each individual. So just the same way people are translating and saying that he said that that's the best thing, other people are translating it and saying that, well, he didn't actually, because that's I'm very what's the word? I'm very comfortable, and I understand what it means when somebody says, well, that's not what I said, because that's the kind of thing that I say. So I understand when somebody makes a statement that can be quite ambiguous. So I think the statement in its actual entirety can be read any which way, depending on who's looking at it. But I think from a Russian point of view, I can
for viewers' sake, let's see CNN. Now, take note that we're talking about America. So the Americans can best describe what they are talking about them. So here on CNN page, it says Joe Biden presidency will be better for Russia than Donald Trump. Russian president.
It's not in double quotes. It's their inference, not a quote.
It's not a quote.
Mm-hmm.
It's a statement. Mm-hmm. Russian President Vladimir Putin told pro-Kremlin journalists, are we listening? Pavel Rubin in an on-camera interview on Wednesday. Now, when you go further, he begins to tell you everything, and he didn't say it is. He didn't say what you are saying, Godwin. He said that's his choice. So I don't know why you people want us to mix it up. So go to CNN, go to BBC.
He didn't say. No, he didn't say that's his. No, he never said that's his choice.
No, it's there. We don't have the time to begin to read through. It's there.
No.
I watched the video, Mark. Don't argue. I watched the video. I'm not telling you that he never said that.
So, but what are these people writing? This is CNN. This is the most.
You can go to them. I'm telling you, I watched the video myself. He never said that.
Are you reading what is on screen? Okay, read. You read.
No. Sorry,
I don't care what they write. I care about the video, Mark, and I care about what I heard and saw. And I'm telling you that there is no point. Don't bring what you are saying. They are not the holders of truth. They are not the judges of truth. Even if they say white is white, white is black, and black is white, you shouldn't go and believe them. You should have your own eyes, your own ears. Go to the source, listen, and don't transfer or transmit fake information.
Godwin, don't be sentimental. Listen.
In fact, somebody wrote in the comment. Look at the comment. Somebody wrote in the comment. I'm not being sentimental. Somebody wrote there. Look, don't. Who else listen to fake news CNN today? That's not my idea. You can put one of those comments on the screen. Somebody put a comment.
That's my friend Monday.
Yeah, but please don't ever for the purpose of our conversation, state a source simply as a source. They are not the definers of truth or the judges of truth. So even if they want to write whatever, you and me are supposed to be smarter than that. Go to the source, listen to it with our ears, and I'll make our own conclusions. They are not in any way any position to think for you or think for me.
Okay. Well, I mean, listen to this. In order to be fair, in order to be fair, interpretation can differ based on political ideology, whether you're conservative liberal, if you're liberal, or if you're whatever. So now the point is this, Mark Godwin, when you listen to conservative news, there are extreme views there. When you listen to liberal news, there are extreme views there. I have done so, and most of the time you go to both of them, there are tangents in their own area. Some newscasters or some news organizations are in the middle, and sometimes if they are pro-liberal, you will see them dancing towards that. The point is, when Putin made that statement, he said, I will work with any political party or any president that wins. But he was stating facts. And the fact was that he stated was Biden, he's been in the government for many, many years. He's well seasoned and will adhere more to the Constitution and the way diplomacy is supposed to, adhere to than Trump. So that's a fact. We all know that. So, but what he's saying also is that he's more predictable. There is that particular predictable sentence. Oh my God, there's so much into that. You can veer it to the left, you can veer it to the right. But the reason why I said what I said is, do not for a moment think that he's choosing one against the other, because Putin is a seasoned diplomatic politician. He knows what he's doing and he understands it. He can say whatever he wants to say, but technologically they can do whatever they want to do, because they're going to take somebody that they can squeeze their ball and he will jump anytime. And that's all that I can say.
You and that's it. Okay. and also Mark, to our Russian viewers, Mark, to our Russian viewers, you are actually insulting them in a way. You bring up you bring only a Western press. You don't bring any Russian. Did you see any Russian magazine that published where they said Putin did? You have to make it balanced, because the audience you're listening to, a lot of Russians will not find it very funny that you think CNN is the definer of truth. We have so many RT, we have TASS, we have so many in Russia that are also can play the same role as definer of truth. So don't ever pick CNN over any Russian brand. I will not stay here and support that.
But the point, Dr. is that we don't get those news because they are so constricted that we don't even get.
Listen, let's not buttress on this. We'll take our time, and it will be. It's not meant. Listen, I'm not an American. I'm not Putin. I'm not Russia. We're just putting news, and we go with the news that's trending. Do you understand? So it has nothing to do with biases. Me, I stay in the middle of everything. I'm a trained, seasoned journalist. Take note of that, my people. And what we're doing is putting out the facts. And sometimes we just want to also look into situations that are not in the same line as the narrative that has been on. Now, listen, gentlemen, let's look at something that's happening because it concerns us. In Kenya, the Valentine's Day was marked as a Dark Valentine. There were vigils all over Kenya because Kenyans are complaining about something, and that is something called femicide. Femicide is what is happening in Kenya. Women, a lot of women are being killed in Kenya. Domestic violence and all that. So Kenya didn't run the Valentine like many countries did because of femicide. So we want to bring this to light. We want to talk about this. There were gatherings around Nairobi or different corners of Kenya. People were not doing Valentine, but they were rather paying tributes to countless of women that have been killed. Gentlemen, Fiona, let me start with you. You're a woman, and I know how saddening it could be to hear your fellow women being killed, domestic violence, husband beaters, and all that. So, give us your take, Fiona. What's your view on this?
I mean, it's interesting and heartening that Kenya is bringing the agenda of DV to the fore like this, and on a day like that. I'm sure if you remember on what day was it, Wednesday, what my opinions are about things like that. DV is a problem across the world. Obviously, I know that it's not just in Kenya. I think even as recently as this week, we had an incident in Ondo State, or Ekiti, I think Ondo or Ekiti State,
Yes.
where Ekiti State. So this is an across the board problem. It happens here in the United Kingdom. I mean, we saw a massive increase in that kind of thing during COVID, where people were forced to be at home with people they actually don't like. So domestic violence across the world is a big issue. A lot of the issues that women face are, not being empowered, not having, the financial wherewithal to be able to escape these situations, or being in a situation where they have young children and they actually feel that there's no way out. And I think the key and the crux of this issue is that the education needs to actually start with young boys and young men. I don't think the education has to be with the women. I don't think they need to be given any money, loads of shelters. I think if young boys are taught to actually treasure girls and women as they grow up, then they will not grow up to be these sort of men. So I think the education actually needs to be about educating the boy child as opposed to educating the girl child. I think they need to really have a very broad understanding of women and girls and the way their lives are, so that they're able to be more to be able to treat them in a way that is not going to lead down this avenue of this domestic violence. I really think that that's where the education really starts. Because I think a lot of times we're trying to deal with the effects and saying, well, let's empower the women, let's give them money, or let's give them shelters that they can run to if there's abuse. But I actually think that if we have a group of a world full of men who are able to be in control of their passions, their emotions, and their feelings, then we won't be having outcomes like this. We can't hear you, Massive Mark.
Yeah, Massive Mark.
Sorry. Yes. Sorry for that, Fiona. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. So Kenya went through the Valentine in the dark.
No, Massive Mark. A point of correction there. They did not. Many people went out and they did what they did. Only that this is the focus of what a group of people were doing to call attention to a certain thing. Kenyans went out, they had fun, they did what they usually do. But these people chose to call attention to this particular abominable act that is happening against women. And so it's not like, they shut it all down. No, they did not. Okay,
No.
Yeah,
but
they had fun.
Yeah, they sent me messages of them having this dark moment, and
that's the pivotal point of what they did. They're calling attention. They were actually going against, swimming against the tide of, let's have fun and all that. But people did go out and have fun in the countries, but these people concentrated. It's a small group of people that actually did this. They're calling attention to something that is very, very important.
Don't dive away from what they're trying to put out. Femicide.
I'm just trying to correct that narrative that they did not enjoy themselves. They did.
Yes,
they did the normal thing that they did. Yes.
But they want to put out that message so that people can also have this awareness, because they said so far this year they've had 30 women killed.
No, 10.
George, when you do this, it doesn't look good on the broadcast. I said 30. Take it as I said. Now, let's go on before we close. I just want us to run through something that is happening
I wanted
good
to add
news.
something, but okay.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead if you want to add something. We actually have
Yes, I want to say that what they are protesting for, the message. I mean, not just the messengers, but the message is very important. We condemn femicide. We have about 40 to 50% of women in Kenya, in particular, faced femicide and or some kind of violence, and about 75% of them were by either husbands or boyfriends or family members, mostly by their intimate partners. So there's a particular pattern here, relationship-based violence, and I think a lot of education, and this is where feminists are doing really well in calling out these kind of atrocities, rather than the other extreme that try to paint men as the enemy. But I think men and women can work together to fight against this common detriment to our dear females.
Wow.
Sorry,
Thank
can
you.
I just
What can we say is the root cause of this is because go ahead.
Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, Dr. Gordon, I just want to revisit what you just said there. You said they're trying to paint men as the enemies. I think you made that statement. I don't really understand what that suggests, because what the fact is that they are not being killed by their fellow women, right? They're being killed by men.
No, I wasn't speaking about them. I wasn't speaking about them. No.
Okay.
I said I love what they are doing.
Okay.
This is the kind of feminism that we support, that fight for women's rights and women betterment, not the ones that paint men as the enemy.
Oh, no, absolutely. 100% I align with that. I think that that sort of feminism is just absolute. There's no space
destructive,
for it
not constructive.
It's not constructive. We don't need that. I'm a woman, and I believe that men have they have a prime responsibility in the community. I don't think that anybody should denigrate them or think that they absolutely want her. If that's what you're saying, then I align with you. Thank you. Sorry.
Wow.
By the way, my contribution to it is this. Number one, we have to go to the root cause of this. And the root cause is that what made domineering type of attitude that we have had in the past, most of these other nations, where, even in Nigeria right now, the thought of a woman becoming the president is so far-fetched, while yet, if you put women in power, it is very likely that most of these developed countries, you see things working out even better. But the point is, we saw this a few years ago in America, where most Igbo men were actually killing their wives, because this is what you call the nursing syndrome. When they start making money, they start disrespecting their husbands, and they didn't know how to deal with it. And they brought that native cultural type of male domineering type of attitude there. When they cannot control their wives anymore, rather than letting them go, they will just kill them. So that is unacceptable. We condemn it from here, and it shouldn't be. So, I am glad that they called their attention to this. We ought to come to the place where we are comparable mates. If you're unable to deal with your mate, get divorced and get out. Find somebody else. Simple. Don't kill one another. Don't abuse each other.
Simple.
Wow.
Sorry, I don't think it's that simple. Just 1 second. I don't think that simple. Now, globally, statistically, there seems to be more domestic violence against men than women. It is only that when domestic violence
it's true. In a way. I'll tell you.
It is more reported. When it is against men, it is seriously underreported. But then that's a discussion for another day.
I think we have to discuss that another day, to be sure.
And it's not life threatening. The ones against men are like a slap on the face, a punch, not really life threatening, like because men can subdue women. That's just the difference between the type of threats.
Pouring oatmeal on your head.
Acid, or some hot water or something, So.
All right, viewers, listen. It has been very confrontational today, and it's good for the network. Thank you all for bringing it on. We need to do this. And let me tell you, you won't believe the number of people with us today. I think viewers also like the confrontation sometimes. So, but anyway, it's been beautiful. You guys have put it through.
By the way, shout out to Monday, Dakora. Monday, you must not. You must be a conservative newsman, you know, for
Yes,
calling a
it's my
CNN
friend.
fake news and all that kind of stuff.
My friend,
We
it's
don't
my
do that,
friend.
you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Shout out to Monday. Shout out to One Love TV and there's so many other people. We had likes for Fiona. We had likes for Araji when they were making their statements. I tell you, today has been beautiful, and we took it 5 minutes more too. So till we come next Monday, between the lines, you guys have a beautiful weekend. Any last word, Fiona, Raji, Godwin? You have anything to say?
No, just I wish everybody a wonderful weekend. That's all.
Yeah,
Nice. Godwin.
More cooperation, more negotiation. We can always find a compromise and move forward together.
Wow. Yeah. Powerful. Yes. Raji, go ahead.
Well, for me, is let's love one another unconditionally.
Yes.
Raji.
Yes. Yeah, good cheer to everybody. Let there be peace. Yes, love.
Let there be peace.
Viewers, are going to live in this world.
Thank you. Let there be peace. And peace indeed there will be. Thank you, guys. All right. Bye-bye.